Every summer since I was 19, I've left the UK during the summer to work at camps in North America. And at 21, I'm going back this summer for a third time. So I'm going to tell you 10 things that I wish I knew before I worked in a summer camp. Number one is you make amazing connections with other people. I mean, one of the biggest worries for me was like, actually, am I going to make any friends? And the short answer to that is yes. The thing is, camp is this amazing kind of unique place, right? Where people from all different countries come together. And you're in this kind of environment where you're forced to make friends in a way. I mean, look, as somebody born in the rural countryside in England, I really love this because you can meet people that, I mean, otherwise you would never have interacted with. And I think the main thing is, you've got to make connections with people because you can't really leave camp. However, the second thing that I wish I knew was that not all friendships last outside of camp. I mean, the sad reality of camp is that not all of the friends you meet there are going to be your friends for life. The thing is, some of your friends are just going to kind of be camp friends. When lots of the people you meet are from all different countries, it can be difficult. Not impossible, right? But it can be certainly difficult to keep up these relationships. But what I will say is that lots of friends do stick around for the long run. And if you're willing to put in that effort, then there's no reason why you can't make these relationships work. And I kind of just touched on this, but the third thing that I wish I knew was that camp is an insane bubble. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, basically, for the entire summer, you have no idea what is going on in the outside world. The thing is, you're not really going to be going on your phone apart from your days off and like a few times during the day. So you're not really going to have any idea what's going on in the news or actually at home with your friends or your family. Obviously, this can be a good or a bad thing depending on the type of person you are. But for me, I loved it. I mean, you wake up and you have this kind of set schedule that you follow, so you don't really have any worries. But the fourth thing that I wish I knew before I worked in a summer camp is that adjusting to the real world when you leave this bubble is actually kind of hard. You know, weirdly, when you actually get back in the, when you say real world, it can be so difficult to kind of go back into the flow of how things used to be. And I think this is especially because when you come back and you start sharing some of your stories that you had over the summer with your friends and your family, they don't really get it. Camp is such a strange kind of, it doesn't feel real. You do stupid dances, you dress up in wacky outfits, and then nobody actually gets the stories unless you actually live that experience. And at least for me, I know that camp really lets me be like this kind of goofy person that I actually want to be in real life, but sometimes that can be a little bit limiting. But these next two tips are really important, so make sure you listen carefully because they're two things that I still think about even to this day. So number 5 is that camp is so hectic. Day to day, you will be busier than you have ever been in your life. It's not like a real job at all. You're gonna be doing things like color war, like going to like raids on other cabins, log stand, like things that you only really get if you've been to camp. But then you'll do all of this stuff and then you'll look back and you'll be like, oh, that's been about 8 hours. The point is, you're gonna do so much kind of crazy stuff that you probably never experienced before and you'll never experience again unless you go back to camp. And it's all go, all the time. The sixth thing that I wish I knew was that you will get sleep deprived and you will feel so tired like you've never felt before. The fact is, there's so much stuff that you've got to do at camp. And there's gonna be days where you are just so exhausted. Let me tell you, you're gonna be exhausted on a level you've never ever felt before. So it is perfectly okay and perfectly normal actually to ask for help and to say, look, I'm not feeling it today. Can you kind of step up a little bit and then I'll make it up tomorrow or the day after, whatever. Another thing is that days off can be kind of stretched really far apart. So you might be waiting like 10 days before you actually get a prolonged kind of 24 hours of rest. And that can be tough. So it's important to look after yourself. And I think in an environment where you do have a lot of responsibility, sometimes it can be difficult to take that kind of self-care. And kind of touching on that responsibility, the seventh thing is that you want to feel so much older than you thought you are. Look, at camp, not only are you working in a country that I'm pretty sure you probably never worked in before, and you're also working in an environment where you don't know anybody going into it. And you're also working in an environment with kids, you know, this can be a lot of pressure. And equally, you're probably going to be doing things that you haven't done before or you have little experience with. So lots of things are going to be new and unfamiliar. But at the same time, because of this, you're going to realize that you're capable of doing so much more than you ever thought you could do. And I think as a result of this, you're going to have just the best stories to tell as you grow up and you get older. I mean, on this channel, we talk loads about how stepping outside of your comfort zone and really pushing yourself to take risks is kind of the fundamental thing that can define your 20s. And I think camp is one of the best places to experiment and to try new things. And I mean, what I'll say is that it was the first experience for me leaving home, like in this kind of capacity at 19. And I thought I was pretty grown up before I went. But I think I went like a boy, a teenage boy, and then, you know, I came back essentially like, you know, a young man, really. These next three are going to be things that every single one of you are going to relate to. Number 8 is that sometimes you're going to feel out of depth. I think when you're in an environment where you've got like 17, 18, 19-year-old teenagers, essentially like kids, working in these massive positions of trust and responsibility. I mean, you know, there's lifeguards there out on the lake that are essentially responsible for making sure that 6, 7, 8-year-old kids don't drown. That can be overwhelming, right? And there's gonna be moments where you question your own ability and actually second guess yourself if you're capable of doing something. But like I touched on, this is all stuff that's stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things that are difficult, right? And things that really make you question your own abilities. But the thing is, there's so many people at camp that are a little bit older, are in leadership positions, have way more experience than you do, that are there and you can go and ask for help. So as a result of this, camp is just this amazing place where you can try out new ideas and, you know, you can fail a few times because there's so many people to pick you up and help you out. And the 9th thing that I wish I knew before working in a summer camp is probably the most shocking and the thing that I least expected. But it's that the USA and Canada, they're actually so different to the UK. If you're not from North America, if you're not from the USA or Canada, you're going to be so surprised by all of these cultural things that they have over there. And things like 4th of July celebrations or like hockey, basketball. I mean, these are all kind of cultural institutions, and you're going to be so surprised by the significance and importance that they have until you go over there and experience them for yourself. Best bit of advice I can give you guys is just try and immerse yourself in it all, kind of take it all in and just be open to having all these new experiences and having your eyes open by kind of new things that you haven't experienced before in your life. And 10th and final thing that I wish I knew is that homesickness is real. Even now, as I'm a pretty experienced traveler and I've done my fair share of exploring the world, there's still points in time where I get really homesick and I just miss my family and I want to be in my own bed. But it's not possible. And the thing is, this is a perfectly normal and natural experience, and it affects everybody. And I think something really important to think about is that the grass always seems greener on the other side, right? It always seems like you could be doing slightly better. But you need to live in the present. You need to kind of take in this moment, take in all of the things that you're feeling, and just kind of enjoy everything for how it is. So there you go. There's 10 things that I wish I knew before I worked in a summer camp. Now, if you're interested in finding out some of the biggest differences between working in a camp in Canada and a camp in America, check out this video where I go over every shocking difference between working in the two countries. But if you're already sure that you want to work in a summer camp or want to do a bit of traveling, check out this video where I give you a list of every essential item that you've got to pack if you're a traveler. And you want to watch this video, guys, because number 6 will shock you. It is an essential. Whichever video you decide to click on, I'll see you all there.